Hello. Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is W, host of the High Art on the Edge page. Today is Sunday, June 25th, 8:30 a.m. in the cloudy Bay Area. Today is part 2 of our tribute to the legendary Beastie Boys. Yesterday we had a License to Ill album listening party. Today we're going to shine a spotlight on Paul's Boutique. That is correct. Now, why are we honoring this album? Is it an anniversary? No. Is it important? Absolutely. Why is it important? Well, that's kind of up to you to decide. I have my own feelings about this album, and I'm sure you do too. So feel free to post your feelings at any time during this event. Paul's Boutique came out in 1989. What was going on in 1989? I want to read you some historical information. Perhaps you may have forgotten some of these moments that transcended and shined a worldview spotlight on some political events, movies, music, what have you. 1989, China, Tiananmen Square protests. United Kingdom, the Hillsborough disaster. The Exxon Valdez spills 240,000 barrels of oil. Nintendo releases the Game Boy in Japan in April and North America in July. How many of you had a Game Boy? The savings and loan crisis leads to nearly a quarter of all savings and loan associations requiring bailout. Average cost of a new house, $120,000. Average monthly rent, $420. So where are you living now? How much is that increased? A box of Ritz crackers, $1.79. U.S. postage stamp, 25 cents. A BMW 325 model, $21,400. A pound of ribeye steak, $3.79. And in honor of the Barbie movie coming out later this summer, Barbie's Dance Time Shop, $24.98. So there you have it. Oh yes, do not forget the first Sony CD player. Lots of good stuff in the late 80s, particularly 1989. Popular films: Batman, Twins, Lethal Weapon, Driving Miss Daisy, which I think won an Oscar that year. License to Kill, My Left Foot, When Harry Met Sally, and one of my favorite films of all time, Dead Poets Society. So that's what was going on in 1989. When this album dropped, many of you know this album was not well received. In fact, it kind of slid underneath the radar. Why? Because it was so groundbreaking. People hadn't caught up to it yet. People couldn't understand the multi-track layering of samples, 150 to 300 different samples. And maybe people were expecting more of that, what they called the frat rock hip hop sound. Well, when they included the Dust Brothers, they decided to say, to hell with it. We're going to shoot for the stars, the LA stars, and go in a different direction for a bit. So Paul's Boutique is a masterpiece in that sense. A wonderful amalgamation of hip hop, soul, funk, everything, but this time a heightened awareness of those samples. In this listening party, what I'm going to be doing is talking over some of these tracks. And if you feel like you want to share any of your feelings, go ahead, put them in the comment box. I'd love to hear what you think about this album. And I want you to think about how this album was a radical departure from License to Ill. And how do you think this album um, was set up and designed, if at all, for the third album? Or are they so different from one another? You decide. There are so many tracks on here. To All the Girls, Johnny Royale, High Plains Drifter, 3 Minute Rule, Hey Ladies, Car Thief. So many to choose from. And like a good album, you can go back and listen to it over and over again, and you're going to pick up some new sounds, new lyrics, all those great things that our boys from New York know how to do so well. All right, enough of the yip yapping for now. So all you need to do is cue up the album Paul's Boutique, whether it be on CD, a little vinyl, cassette, what have you, go digitally, it doesn't matter. And when I say hit it, you're going to hit play on your device and enjoy. And I'll be talking over some of these tracks. And that's pretty much how an album party, listening party works. Alrighty? So sit back and enjoy 1989 Paul's Boutique. You ready? Hit it. To all the Brooklyn girls. Well, what a great way to start. You don't know what's coming. Just slow build. Nice homage to the ladies. And boom. Shake your rump. Turn it up. I mean, what a great track for number 2. So thick, so full, so confident. So complex. The percussion work is extraordinary, along with the sample percussionary work. I mean, this must have taken hours upon hours to put together. It's like a puzzle, right? Is your name Michael Diamond? A quote from Ad Rock: "A lot of the tracks come from songs they plan to release to clubs as instrumentals. They were quite surprised when we said we wanted to rhyme on it because they thought it was too dense." This album was dropped on July 25th, 1989. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons why this album never caught fire. Was it because it was dropped over midsummer? Now, albums drop all the time. Third track, Johnny Royale. So, when albums get dropped in a time where maybe people are away, that could explain, again, why it never caught people's attention. Another great track. People underestimate the power of a third track, right? Living on Borrowed Time. So I was thinking about all the samples that they placed on this album, and and if you know the answer out there, I would love to hear it. What was the cost in getting the rights to do that? And if they were to do this today, what would be the exorbitant cost? It's astonishing what they were able to pull off in terms of these licensing fees, which would probably just be so exorbitant. I don't know if you can actually pull this off today. Hmm. Kick it. I love these little sampled motifs they bring back into their songs. All right, check it, and we're going to move right into Eggman. Get out your eggs. Get ready to toss them. There's that famous Hitchcock Bernard Herrmann sample. There it is. Jaws, I think, is in here. Yesterday, I spoke about the cleverness, obviously, of their lyrics, but um, the ability to take turns, and each one has a spotlight within these songs. And then you allow the Dust Brothers to do what they do best in such a unique fashion. Taxi driver, I'm the Eggman. If you're tuning in, my name is W, host of the High Art on the Edge page, listening to Paul's Boutique midway through Eggman. Here comes the shark. There it is, John Williams. Sliding right into High Plains Drifter. Track number 5. Bum bum, bum bum. Classic Beastie Boys here. Throbbing bass, thick beat. Mm-hmm. So, where were you when you first heard this album? What were you doing? What was going on in your life? And did you understand the album when it was first released? Did it kind of throw you for a loop there? Cool like lemonade. And they interject these moments from movies or television shows, and it just like comes full throttle in. It's a little jarring at times. That's what makes this whole album so fun. You never have a full handle on it. That's why I think it's so hard to get tired of, right? So here's a fun fact for you. Manhattan rejected a petition to name a square after the Beasties. Last year, avid Beastie Boys fan Leroy McCarthy petitioned the city of Manhattan to name the corner of Ludlow and Rivington Beastie Boys Square due to the acclaim it received from being featured on the Paul's Boutique cover. The petition got a lot of attention, media coverage, but alas, it was denied by Manhattan's community board 24-1. That was written in 2015, by the way. All right, sounds of science. Sounds of science. There's the Beatles right there. How do you sample that? Oof. Here's another fun fact. The Beasties sampled countless artists on the album, including the Ramones, Kool and the Gang, and Africa Bambaataa. In fact, the album was composed almost entirely of samples. 95% of the record was sampled. Paul's Boutique engineer Mario Cadato Jr. once told Rolling Stone, "The list of samples on the album is so long, they're still getting sued over it." So good. Oh, here we go. The Beastie Boys spent approximately $250,000 on sample clearances in the late 1980s. Of course, now that would cost them millions. More Beatles sample. The end. That killer riff, that killer groove right there. Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. So I'll be here a few more minutes, and then the rest is on your own. Well, Peter Tosh. This album reminds me of the Sgt. Pepper's artwork, right? The iconic image of all the different famous people, kind of the who's who. 3-minute rule. All right, here's a challenge for you all. If you were to compose a playlist for your friend who has never heard of a Beastie Boys track, and you get 5 songs to put on this playlist, what 5 songs would you put on there for your friend to enjoy from all their albums? What 5 songs would you include? Think how hard that would be. And this album, if it were released today, would be very tame compared to what has come out now. Maybe that's another reason why I like it. It's not so riddled in gratuitousness. And maybe some of that persona that they put on, they were kind of mocking all of that, particularly when they got to Los Angeles. And in the 3-minute rule here, there are these little moments that you capture, especially with the headphones on, with the vocals going on there. And when you're listening to Beastie Boys on your headphones, in your car stereo, wherever it may be, it's just, you get a different sense of audio flavor, right? All right, we're going to end it here. I'm going to sign off after this next track. This is Hey Ladies. There's that killer groove. Boom. 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 Chuck Woolery. All righty. I hope you enjoyed this short album listening party. Paul's Boutique. So many great tracks Following this one, I will let you on your own here. And again, feel free to post anything you want regarding these songs. It's been a pleasure reconnecting with this album and going down into the deep Beastie Boys rabbit hole. My name is W, host of the High Art on the Page. We'll talk to you soon. Keep enjoying the Beastie Boys. Always a pleasure. Always. Ciao. There it is.